Alright class, in this video we're going to be learning how to calculate the surface area of a cylinder and also how to calculate the volume of a cylinder. So since volume is a little bit easier, we're going to start with that. So the formula for volume of a cylinder is the same thing as the formula for the volume of a prism. So remember, the volume of a prism volume equals B, capital B times H. What does the capital B stand for? Area of base. The area of the base multiplied by H, which is the height. So if you take the area of the base and multiply it by the height, that gives you the volume of the prism. Well, the volume of a cylinder is the same thing. The only difference is the way we find the area of the base, because now the area of the base is a circle. So you have to go back, reach into your files, and remember what the area of a base, the area of a circle is. So now, more specifically, if I'm going to find the volume of a cylinder, my volume is going to be the area of the base, which is going to be the area of the circle. So the area of the circle, if you remember, is pi r squared. So pi times r squared. That's the area of the base multiplied by height. So it's still the same thing as a prism, except now the area of the base is from the formula for the area of a circle. Pi r squared. Remember, r is your radius. So let's do an example. Let's say the radius of this cylinder is 4 inches. So the radius is 4 inches, and let's say the height is 3 inches. Let's calculate the volume of this prism. So as long as we know the radius and we know the height, we have enough information to calculate the volume of a prism. All we have to do is just plug in the known numbers. Pi, we already know what pi is. That's 3.14. R, in this case, is 4. But don't forget this 4 is squared. Times H, which is 3. All right, so let's work with our order of operations. Remember, we do exponents, parentheses, then exponents. But inside the parentheses, we have an exponent. So 4 squared is 16. And now, from this, if you remember the associative property, or the commutative property, or the associative property, you do not have to group these this way. So multiplication is just 3.14 times 16 times 3. It's just a multiplication right across, so I don't need those parentheses. So if we calculate that out, 150.72 inches, but remember, volume is in terms of cubic units. So this is a cubic inch. So we put that little 3 up there, 150.72 cubic inches. All right, so right there, that is the volume of a cylinder. Now let's calculate the surface area. So we have to imagine the surface of a cylinder. All right, so think about this, all the surfaces. The top surface and bottom, top face or bottom face are the bases. Those are both circles. So we have two circles that we need to find the area of. Remember, surface area is finding the area of all the faces of a three-dimensional figure. Now, what about the surface that goes around this, like a soda can or a tomato juice can? Imagine this. Let's say we were to cut the top off and cut the bottom off. Those two would end up being circles. And they would be congruent circles. They would be the exact same circle. Let me try to draw a little bit closer. They'd be the exact same circle. The top and bottom bases are exactly the same. But what about the side? Now imagine if I were to cut. If I were to take the side of this can, cut it, and then lay it flat, what would it look like? Well, it would look like a rectangle. So now, this is very easy. We just need to find the area of the top and the bottom, plus the area of this rectangle. So the circles are easy. The area of a circle, we just need to know what R is. We can find the area of those two. And then we need to find the area of this rectangle, which is just length times, or I'd say, let's call this length, and this the width. Length times width. But the width is the distance between these two, the top and the bottom, which is the height. So this edge, we can call it H. Now the length of the rectangle, how do we find that? Now let's trace it. From where we cut, this is the cut edge right here. These two edges are the ones that were connected and we laid it out flat. Well, if I travel on the edge here and I go around, what I'm doing is finding the distance around the circle. The distance around the circle is going to be the length of this rectangle. So instead of length, we're going to say we're looking for circumference. So this rectangle, the area of this rectangle is going to be the height of this cylinder times the circumference. All right, so surface area equals the area of one of the bases, which would be pi r squared, but there's two of them. So we're going to take that, we're going to multiply it by 2. And then we're going to add the area of the rectangle, which is going to be the circumference times the height. And then circumference, we can be more specific and say circumference is pi r squared. I'm sorry, that's area. Circumference is 2 times pi r times height. All right, so let's try an example. How about the same example where the radius is 4 inches and the height is 3 inches. And let's find the surface area of this cylinder. All right, so we'll move down here. So surface area is going to be 2 times pi r squared. R is 4. plus CH. C is the circumference, so it's going to be 2 pi r. So 2 times pi times r, which is 4. And then h is 3. So I put little parentheses around each number that I plugged in. So now we just have to calculate this out. Remember, pi is 3.14. In this case, 4 squared is 16. Then we have 2 pi times 4 times 3. If we multiply the 2, 4, and 3, this would be 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So this is 3.14 times 24. Two times 3.14 times 16 is 100.48 plus 3.14 times 24 is 75.36. And then we add those two together and we get 175.84. Now, surface area, remember area is square units. And we're talking about inches, so this is going to be inches squared.